Welcome to Aussie Sim Racing, formerly known as iAussie Gamer, but I've made a change because I'm just going to concentrate on sim racing games from now onwards, or sim type racing games. It won't be full on sims because the video that I'm reviewing, or the game I'm not really reviewing, I like to call it impressions. I don't really like to call my videos from now onwards reviews. It's of course Forza Motorsport 5 on the Xbox One. Now I'm playing this with the Logitech G920, which is for the Xbox One and does work on the PC as well. I'll do a different video on that at a later date. But what we're looking at here is, of course, Forza Motorsport 6. Now, I'm really impressed with this game, but I do have some concerns, and there are some issues that I have with the game as well. But let's look into the positives of it. Now, it's definitely an improvement over Forza Motorsport 5. To me, the physics have been improved. The graphics have been improved, and it seems to be running a lot smoother at 60 frames a second than Forza 5 was running it. And the racing is great fun. The AI seems to be improved again, with of course with the drivatars. You don't seem to have that freak drivatar that seems to disappear. Or I've had cases in Forza 5 when I had a drivatar. I would have a nice big lead, and suddenly this drivatar would get into warp speed, catch up to me, and overtake me on the last lap. Always. The only way to stop that was actually to block the person who actually was on my friends list. I had to block that person to stop this drivatar doing it nearly every race. It unrealistically caught up 5 seconds in a lap, and yeah, it's just not possible. So that was a bit annoying. It doesn't seem to be the issue that I've noticed with Forza Motorsport 6, which is great to know. Car selection and tracks have improved. There are some new tracks. Don't ask me what names they are, but I do know there are a couple more tracks, of course. And there's the legendary tracks like Spa, Nürburgring, Bathurst, and that's all very good. But yeah, I've just got some concerns, and I'm going to list that. First, though, it still, to me, feels like there's a couple of cars missing that were in Forza 5. And again, we're going to have to pay for those in paid DLC in the future, which I think is wrong. I think you should only have to... DLC should be games that have not been in any previous ones. You should not have to repay for cars that you had in Forza 5, 4, whatever. That's just my view on that. But I'm enjoying playing this. I said I hardly even touch Gran Turismo 6 nowadays. I should do a video about my impressions of Gran Turismo 6, and to me, why that game to me has been a failure, and that Sony need to stop working on it and really concentrate now on getting Gran Turismo 7 out. Again, that's for another video. They seem to have toned down on the sun glare that they really love doing in Forza 5, which is, I think, is good. I think it was definitely overdone. Now let's get into another part of the game that is, of course, new to Forza series, and that is being nighttime racing that the game now has, which is done very well. It's something that hasn't had in the past, so they've managed to work on the lighting, which has been a very good addition to this game. I think that's where they've probably made the biggest strides, is the lighting system in Forza 6, and the nighttime racing is good fun. It does feel like you're racing at night time. You've got all the nice glares from the lights and everything like that, and yeah, I'm really enjoying that. But now we're going to get into the other new addition to Forza 6, which is the rain effects, which some parts is really good, and some parts, and one major flaw as far as I'm concerned with it. And now with the rain effects, very good. They look great. It's one of the best looking rain effects I've seen in any racing game. But there is one major flaw with this, and that's what's just coming up right now. Look, I'm going to hit here, I'm going to hit a puddle, and I just can't do anything. Just control smash into the tire wall. And truthfully, this is supposed to be, we're supposed to be taking Forza 6 as the racing sim. In real life, with that there on that road, they wouldn't let the race start. And that's my major issue that I have with the rain effects. These water puddles, which are at the exact same spot, because only certain tracks have the rain. It's not dynamic. It's only on certain tracks where it does rain, and when of course it rains, it's a set time. I think the same is with the dark, that it's set. You can't. There's no dynamic lighting to go from day to dark. I don't know. I haven't really tested that side of it, but I do know with rain, it doesn't go from dry into rain and etc. And it's been proven, like with Project Cars, it can be done. But in this, as a racing sim, as far as I'm concerned, these puddles, hey, it's great. It's a great little effect, but it has no place in a racing sim. It should be in a game like Forza Horizon 2 or Future 3. Yeah, I reckon it's a great effect to have in a game like that. It's an arcade racing, those. So having those puddles try and do that because you're racing out on the roads, yeah, that's realistic. But in real life, in a case like this, you would not be racing in conditions. We have these huge puddles, and they're the exact same spot, and sometimes they have them in stupid places when you're trying to break into a corner, and it's just unrealistic, especially like where I went off at the start when I started talking about the rain and Spa, the famous corner there. And this is, to me, the biggest and major flaw within Forza 6. The rain effects is great. You know, I'm not knocking the rain effects. They look good. They've done a great job. Just gone a bit too far with the simple thing called puddles. And it really does distract from the sim feeling of this game. Again, if this was real life, they would not be allowing the cars to race on this track until those puddles have been removed, because it's dangerous. You're not going to, and it really does distract, to me, from proper sim racing aspect of this game. Now we're going to go into another aspect of the game, so we'll get discussing that now. As I touched on before, I did say that the physics have been improved, especially in the front end grip. I find the front end grip within the game a lot more realistic to what was beforehand. One aspect which I think they've again haven't addressed, it's been a flaw that I feel has been with Forza since Forza Motorsport 4 and 5, and definitely it's still present here in 6. And a lot of these sim companies seem to think that it's realistic to have a game that has very loose rear end, when it's not really the truth. Now, when I'm driving a WRX and in the corners, all the rear end does want to do is spin out all the time, that's not realistic. A WRX doesn't do that. They're four-wheel drive. They've got a tendency to want to understeer. They want to, when you put your foot down, they've got a tendency to want to go straight off. A bit like a front-wheel drive car as well there. It's the rear-wheel drive cars that would have that kind of effect. But again, even in those, it's done too much. And when you do start to lose your rear end, especially when it gets to a certain point, it's just like, it doesn't matter what you do to try and control it, you're gone. It will just spin out. And that's my biggest disappointment with Forza 6. I hoped that they had addressed this issue, and that the rear end is just a bit too loose, to the point where I've actually had to turn on the traction control, TCS, whatever they call it, to make it, to me, more realistic, because it's just not enjoyable that when the rear end just keeps wanting to go out all the time. And to me, that's the only real area that I would like to have seen them address, is just not that, just a little bit of tweaking. It's just a little bit too loose in the rear end, especially in front-wheel drive cars and four-wheel drive cars, which are more prone to understeer than oversteer. And unfortunately, they seem to think that everything oversteers all the time and that the rear end is so easy to lose, and that's realistic. Too many racing games, I feel, fall into that they make the games too loose. Well, it's not really like that in real life, and that's just the one aspect that does kind of just dilute this game for me. Games like Assetto Corsa, Project Cars, they don't have that issue with being too loose in the rear end. Unfortunately, Forza 6 still has that issue. I actually thought, because before I had a Logitech G20, I never had a wheel for the Xbox One. I couldn't really tell if they had addressed that issue or not. I thought maybe it was just a controller issue. But now that I've got a decent wheel, it's still very obvious that the cars are just a little bit too loose. It does distract from the racing to me. You concentrate too much on keeping that rear end under control and not just enjoying the racing. I just think they need to address the rear end just a little bit. Just the rear end grip is a little bit too loose. give it a bit more grip at the rear end, and this game will be good. Of course, they also need to address the puddle issues, which I still think needs to be dealt with. Okay, well, I'm going to end this video with a bit of just raw video, racing in the rain with sound. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is just my impression. Look, I'm really loving this game. I'm enjoying it. I'm very happy I got it. I just wish they had addressed and done some couple things better than they have. I'm Ian. This is Aussie Sim Racing. Catch you guys later.